What's up, guys? I'm Derek Wright. Up to now, I've used my YouTube channel as just kind of a dumping ground for different segments I've done over the years. I've got my reel there, I've got some celebrity interviews, but there's really no context or rhyme or reason to anything on there. So I thought I'd offer some context and kind of show you what it is a segment producer really does. So the term producer means a lot of different things. In the film world, it means one thing, usually somebody who's funneling money or providing money for a film. But in the TV world, it breaks down into a lot of different categories. You have line producers, segment producers, graphics producers, live producers. There's a producer for pretty much anything that goes on in a production. And with my job, I work for a TV station. We do a half-hour entertainment show 5 nights a week. Being a producer at a TV station means a lot of different things, but the number one thing that I do is write scripts. And this is a very important thing to know how to do. You have to know how to write well, usually with AP style or some kind of news style, and be able to do it quickly. It's very important to be able to turn things around very quickly. Whereas maybe scripted shows or movies obviously have months and months to create their content. A lot of times we're writing scripts maybe even an hour before broadcast, sometimes even less than that. So a lot of times it's writing scripts very quickly and having to be very factual and accurate with those scripts. So writing is super important. Writing is probably more than half of what I do on a daily basis. So the other thing I do working as a segment producer is shooting in the field. Now, this involves a lot of other moving parts. So one of the things we have to do is do pre-production. We have to plot out where we're going to do these shoots, setting up stories, finding out what the stories are going to be. Logistics, pre-production, figuring out what camera system you need for a particular shot, whether it's GoPro or using a standard ENG camera, or if we're going to shoot it on an SLR, if we want a different look to it. There's a lot that goes into setting up these shoots. So working as a field producer, a lot of setup beforehand, and then actually going out in the field and doing that. So that's a big part of it. Working the phones, email, getting in touch with people, and trying to set up these segments and stories that we do. Another thing that I do, not as often, but I work as a line producer or a show producer, sometimes called a show stacker. The show stacker, it's more of a managerial position, and it's the person who kind of decides what's going to go into the nightly show and what order is it going to go in. So it's an important position. You're actually determining the direction of the show for that night. Now, our show, we're kind of broken up into 2 different blocks of content. At the beginning, we do a lot of topical entertainment news, like new movies coming out, or celebrity gossip, TMZ type stuff. And then the later blocks of the show, after the commercial break, we do more feature stuff. So we'll do new restaurants opening up, or we'll do a new movie coming out, a review of a new album, something like that, or any kind of feature entertainment type content. But the show stacker is deciding what order stuff is going to go in the show. So this is going to go in the first block, this package is going to go in the second block, third block, fourth block. We're going to wrap up with this music video, what have you, whatever it is. So that job's a little more managerial in scope and requires a different skill set. You're taking a bird's eye view of the show and how the whole thing is going to pan out when it actually ends up on the air. Once that show is finished and basically all the elements are ready to go for a live show, I'm turning it over to the director and the technical director to actually put this on the air. At that point, I'm kind of taking a back seat and they're running the program, but I still have one very important job during this facet of production. I'm doing the timing, and timing is very important when you're doing a live show. If you have anchors reading a teleprompter live, they're going to read at different speeds every night, so there's really no way to know how long each segment's going to go. We do a lot of ad-lib in our show, so sometimes things can tend to get long, so we got to be watching that clock. We're doing a 30-minute broadcast, roughly translates to 21 minutes of content. So we need to be watching that clock and making sure we're getting in and out at the commercial breaks and then at the end break. So timing is a big part of it, and we do that live in the booth as the show is running. So as you can see, being a producer means a lot of different things. But ultimately, the producer is the person responsible for what the content is and what goes on the air. If something doesn't go right and something looks like crap, it's the producer's fault. And if it looks really good, the producer gets the kudos for that. So I've been on both sides of that, believe me. So going forward here, I'm going to try to show you, give you a behind the scenes look at what it means to be a producer and a segment producer, and maybe a line producer if I do have a show to do, and just give you some insight as to what that's like. I'm going to try to bring the camera along with me, trying to figure out how to shoot that. I think I'll probably just vlog on a GoPro, because that's a lot easier just to do that without having to worry about focus and all that. So if you like what you see, please subscribe, give me a like, and we'll see you next time.